And it looks like we are live. Good evening, everyone. I am Alexi, and we are here playing Checkpoint Midnight. This is Checkpoint Midnight Waltz of Treachery, Season 1, Session 2 of 4. We're playing this game through the Gauntlet Gaming Community. You can find out all about the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com. The Gauntlet is a place where there's lots of cool folks, and we're playing lots of cool games, many indie and storytelling, role-playing games. There is a event coming up this coming weekend. So the kind of weekend of July 17th through 19th, I think, and it's Gauntlet Community Open Gaming. So that's going to be some sessions that are just open to anyone, where a lot of Gauntlet and Gauntlet affiliated folks will be running role-playing games for folks to play online. We're really excited about that. You can find out about Gauntlet Community Open Gaming if you check out the Gauntlet, or check out the Gauntlet's Twitter account at Gauntlet RPG on Twitter. Anyways, tonight's game, the game that I'm running here, is Checkpoint Midnight. This is a game in development from me, from Cloven Pine Games. Checkpoint Midnight is a game about supernatural operatives in Cold War Vienna. So these are folks who live in the shadows of this divided post-war city, and they are pulled into missions, and they are juggling loyalties here in this city of music that has become a city of spies. So you can follow the development of Checkpoint Midnight if you're interested at bit.ly/checkpointmidnightlist. I'll be sending out updates as this game develops. I've been really enjoying getting to play test it with such great folks, and I'm excited to continue doing that. So speaking of the great folks I'm playtesting with, let's introduce our players. So first, we'll do a round of just learning about the players themselves, and then we'll go background about characters after that. So firstly, players, if you don't mind, introduce yourself with your name, your pronouns if you wish, and your online handle if you so desire. I'll start us off. Again, Alexi, he, him, and you can follow my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. I'll use the character keeper for our order. So Puckett, take it away.
Hi there, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I'll be running 2 sessions at this weekend's Gauntlet Community Open Gaming, a session of Paul Sega's Traverser, and also a session of Brandon Lee Gambetta's Pasión de las Pasiones, set in a record store. What could possibly go wrong with a bunch of teenagers in a record store?
Anyway. I bet someone's going to get accused of lying, and someone might express their love passionately. Those are my guesses, Puckett.
And it's possible, just possible, that someone might demand something they think they deserve.
Yeah, Pasión, such a great game. Always fun. Coming up with new spins on it. So I'm excited to hear about how that one goes.
I think there might be a seat left in each one of those sessions. So if you are seeing this in enough time, and it is not Saturday or Sunday, which is the 18th, 19th, or just hit me up if you need a session of Pasiones run. I will do pretty much any ridiculous thing, including SpongeBob.
Very good. Very good. All right, Chris, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Chris. I use he, him pronouns. I'm my Twitter handle is at Hectic Electron. I'm on Instagram with that too. What else? I'm playing Ashleigh. She, they pronouns.
Yeah, we'll learn more about Ashleigh when we come back around. Wonderful. Good to have you here, Chris. Last but not least, Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm also known as Kai, XAI. My Twitter handle is Kai the Gamer, XAI the Gamer. I enjoy gaming online, and I've been in the Gauntlet for quite a while now, and I've been just forgetting about the fact that there was games here. And I came back, and there was a slot open, and Alexi has been divine enough to let me join. So I'm looking forward to figuring out where my loyalties lie when there are so many loyalties to be had.
Absolutely. Wonderful to have you joining in for this series. Let's meet these characters then. So we'll go back around and just hear a little about each of these characters. Puckett, why don't you tell us what you think is most important for us to know about Jack Hardesty, the unburied.
He's a man with a mission, and that mission is vengeance. He is on a quest to kill the people who did not let him die and reassemble them out of parts of others. Wants to make sure that this never happens to anyone again, and the people are left to be at rest once they've given their last full measure of devotion. That's basically Jack in a nutshell. Help, help, he's in a nutshell.
Yeah. A soldier with the what was his division? The Screaming Eagles?
No, 101st.
Yeah. And so, he got put back together after meeting his final end, and now he's walking the streets of Vienna, a fairly intimidating presence, trying to track down the fairly sinister laboratory behind his resurrection. Does that seem about the shape of it?
Yeah, couldn't go back to soldiering because they prefer their soldiers to be in one piece and entirely alive and have a pulse.
So picky.
Yeah, right? And he wound up in Vienna because it's a city where everybody kind of looks like somebody else. So he can kind of say, if he runs into anybody who thinks they know him, it's like, oh no, you've got me confused with another person.
Just one of those faces.
Exactly. Just one of those faces, just one of those cities.
Let me make sure to pop up our character keeper, just so anyone watching the stream can also see kind of what we're envisioning for some of these characters. So you've got a dashing Michael Caine portraying Jack here, I think.
And he has two hobbies, one of which is menacing Gordon Mackenzie, but that's okay because Gordon deserves it. And the other is hunting down war criminals and dispatching them. So he's a cheerful guy, Jack.
Yeah. Gordon was once a low-level skippy with this aforesaid sinister lab, and you're continually trying to get more information out of him while he's a slightly slippery fellow. We've established.
Well, the deal is he dies last.
As long as he keeps feeding you other leads.
Yeah, exactly. As long as he stays alive, as long as he's useful.
All right. That seems like a good introduction to Jack. Chris, why don't you tell us about your character, Ashleigh the Constructed?
Ashleigh was carved out of ashwood by somebody that she doesn't remember. She has only little snippets of her creator, and really it's the city. She gets little jigsaw pieces, flashes of memory of parts of the city, which has led her to walk around the city in her clomping, wooden-footed way. But she was made in a Jugendstil style with lots of whiplash curves and little decorative touches. And now she's studying humanity and trying to understand what they're like. She likes to collect little used cigarettes and pretend to smoke them. She's fascinated with fire and with breathing. And her best friend is Inge the sausage lady, who got her the apartment she's squatting in now.
That's right. And Inge lives in the apartment building where the operatives most recently pulled off a mission.
Right. Yes.
But you managed to not barge into her apartment at any point. So probably she was totally unaware of all of the craziness going on.
Relationship still intact.
Good. Anything else we should definitely know about Ashleigh?
She has a little ladybug that follows her around and gives her good advice that she sometimes listens to and sometimes really doesn't.
Yeah, conscience.
Yes. Named Constance. And lives off Stephansplatz, really wishes she could dance and really can't. Likes to sort of haunt the streets and look. She's a good lookout with her wide-brimmed hat, trying to keep the car lights off of her wooden face.
Yeah, as long as people don't look too closely when she wears her coat and hat, she can kind of pass as a normal human that's not carved out of wood and magically animated.
Right.
All right. Very good. Well, let's meet our new operative then. So, Mark, you've been working on adding Skye, the elemental, to the character keeper. Will you tell us a little bit about her?
Well, now that I've heard the descriptions of the other characters, I feel like I'm just cribbing. So Skye is Scottish. I am not going to pretend to have any sort of voice acting, so there won't be Scottish accents for me. And she was brought in as part of the British contingent as a doctor, very much an iZombie situation. She, for some reason, was drowned in the sewers. She remembers some calloused hands on her throat, and that's about it.
So no, you don't know who the culprit was?
I don't. But they continue to make me do things because they have access to the ring that has at least some of my soul in it, if not all of it. And if they decide to, say, strike it with a hammer, then I feel it. And so I will respond to their call when I feel like it. Otherwise, my warm demeanor has become rather icy. I've been taken off of the bedsides and put into intelligence. And I pursue a life of art and dance and trying to figure out what it's like to be alive after being dead. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it says I have a subtle weapon. So I do have a ring, and I don't know if it's like too much, but I was imagining it was like a garrote kind of weapon, or like a poisonous barb kind of ring or something like that. But I don't want to.
I liked the description that was in here of a garrote with a poisoned barb on it.
Yeah.
A very clever weapon.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that's okay with the group. So.
Yeah.
I mean, last session we had a Gorgon, so I mean this just seems completely in line with everything else. So
we had a Gorgon? Did I miss this?
Different series,
okay.
Jack. But yeah, there's been all sorts of creatures in this Vienna. Yeah, no, that weapon sounds great. Tell me a little about how your handler gets in touch with you. It sounds like you have a dead drop set up.
Yeah, there's a dock that's outside of my window, and I will know when, I haven't figured it out. The trash can's in a different place or something like that. And it's very easy for me to know that there's a message waiting for me. It's just very hard for me sometimes to give a care. But I got that out of this because it says, what petty ways do you find to rebel against those who hold your leash? And I figure my handler holds that leash. And so I just don't respond punctually.
I see. So you gotta you make the handler wait, right? You like drag your feet, keep them on the on tenterhooks until maybe they feel they have to exert a little pressure to get you to do something.
Yeah, definitely.
The ring that has a piece of your soul in it, is that a ring you owned in your previous life, or is it a new item? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so her name is Skye, and it's got a ring with feathers on it. She was, always called Angel by her kin and stuff like that. So just a Skye kind of theme to her name.
Oh man. Oh, and that must be really interesting to be kind of so connected to water now, because as the Rusalka, you've now become a being much more connected to the depths than to the airy heights, I think.
Yeah, it asked me in the character creation what was a piece of beauty I'd found, and there's a place in the river where if I just lie on the bottom of it and look up at night, it looks like Van Gogh's Starry Night. So like there's this connection between the depth and the sky and stuff like that.
That's lovely. That's really poignant. I like that.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And the other backstory question we have is the contact question, which for you says, you once spared someone you'd been instructed to destroy, and they've now become important in Vienna. You have leverage over them. Who are they? Do you want to have some more time to think about that, or do you have any ideas for that contact question?
Well, I don't know I haven't really had a chance to look through the NPCs. If there's somebody that, as a director of a movie, you think it'd be great for me to be connected to, I will take that person. Otherwise, I will wait for it to come up and play.
Cool. Yeah, we can definitely wait for that if that feels like a good idea. I'm thinking through the folks in our NPCs tab right now are like, not a lot of them are like prominent in the city, right? Like there is a East German singer, Charlotte Vogel, who's been added to this lineup, but a lot of these folks are, kind of either, people who are a little more also just eking out an existence on the edge of things, or are literally death herself personified. So that's not quite, not quite appropriate for this question.
That would be an interesting story, how I saved death from death. But no, I will wait until it becomes more apparent to me.
That works. Well, then let's take a look at your relationship questions. Where we're gonna see about slotting in some player characters there. Tell me if either of those jump out at you as one you want to examine first.
Let's go with the freedom I lack.
Ooh, yeah. Tell me about that question.
So I'm on a leash, right? Like someone holds on to me. And I can't leave Vienna, even if I wanted to at this point, which I don't. But that tether keeps me here. So I don't know who has a lot of freedom. Is that you, Ashleigh, or is that you, Puckett? Or Jack, excuse me.
I think it might be interesting if we did it with Jack, just because we're both basically dead. And you're tethered to the city, whereas I could go elsewhere. I mean, it would increase my risk of being noticed by someone, but I could, if I chose, go there. Nothing's holding me here except for Gordon and the desire for vengeance. So
do you go about do you go to all the different quadrants of Vienna quite a bit?
I go everywhere.
I know. Yeah. I do too. I'm walking the city a lot.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to find my lost memories, but it works with Jack just as well. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel very tight. Like it's a big deal for me to leave the British quadrant. Is what I'm thinking. But yeah, Jack jumped up. Let's go with Jack for that one.
Okay, so so the question says, blank seems to exemplify the freedom you lack. You can't tell if you're more envious of them or more attracted to them. Do you feel this, kind of mix of emotions about Jack then?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Plus, I can kill the people that have bothered me, whereas you seem to maybe have a little bit more of an issue with that.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
Life is weird, but still precious.
So what sort of things is your leash holder mostly having you do, Skye? Like, are you like gathering intelligence for them, or like are they making you off people occasionally and you feel upset about this? Like, what is the usual kind of mission that they end up leaving for you?
Stalking people, and then taking them out if when they do the wrong thing.
I see.
Like, I've ordered so and so to go do a thing. You're going to follow them, make sure they do that thing, and if they don't, then you make sure they don't do anything again. Kind of.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. So you're an enforcer.
Yes.
A quick question. Do you agree with what those people are being told to do?
The way I see it, most of the missions I go on, again, are because someone has kind of got me on a leash.
I'm just curious if there's if you feel any kind of ethical conflict between.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So you could see somebody being ordered to do the wrong thing and be ordered to kill them if they don't follow through and struggle with that ethically and morally.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I've done. I spared someone I've been instructed to destroy. So I think that's going to happen more often.
Presumably that displeased your leash holder, and you kind of took the brunt of that. But at least once you decided to let them out, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've done that at least once.
Cool. Cool. Let's turn to the other relationship question. We do have another player in the series. So if it felt like it was, felt like this really should be Leandra's character, we could check that out. But I think it's possible that this makes more sense with Ashleigh. What do you think? Can you read me the relationship question here?
I'd be glad to. Someone has sought to help you and suffered for it. Do you look at them with pity or with hope? So, Ashleigh, would you see my my conflicts and my leash and want to do something about that? Does that sound like something you would do?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're fascinating to me because you're so close to being human. And I think I would want to try to help you become closer to the person you used to be, to being a real human being. But it's interesting to think about how I might have suffered for that. Maybe I let myself be step out too much into the light, into a street light, or recognition as not human myself. Maybe I got some of my wood waterlogged trying to fish you out. Maybe a combination of those things.
Maybe I spurned you. Maybe it's emotional suffering.
Oh yeah. It was help that was not asked for.
Yeah. And so maybe I lashed out. I noticed that that's one of the things you can do to relieve stress is to lash out at people. So
it's one of the things the elemental can do. Everyone has a sort of different set of those.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you're totally right. That is one of your release moves as the elemental, and I could see that being why Ashleigh has suffered for trying to help you. If you were just rejecting help in a very emphatic fashion. So the last part of that is: do you look at them with pity or with hope?
I think I lash out, but I don't think I want Ashleigh to stop. I don't want them.
So you do look at Ashleigh with hope, despite.
I do. Yeah. I just think that it's a little too heavy-handed right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can happen when your hands are made of wood, huh?
That was why I said that. Yes, I'll put Ashleigh down on that.
I imagine I have like layers of maps of the city in the apartment I'm squatting in, like pasted up on the walls with annotations and marks and circles. And I might have forced one of these on you. Be like, do you think your hand there might be in the city somewhere? And it's like, to anybody else, like to you, it may look like just the scrawls of a mad wooden statue.
Wow. Oh, that's brilliant. I love that kind of wall full of crazy. But to Ashleigh, it's clarifying something about how humans are relating to each other in this city. Yeah,
it reminds me of Homeland with the was she manic depressive? I think she's depressive, and she organized all of this intelligence into colors, and that was what was going on. So, like, she was trying to track a particular person, and she had stuff from different time periods. But one time period, the orange time period or something like that, was empty. And so she's trying to tell people on the way to the hospital, she's like, there's nothing in the orange. And they're like, what are you talking about? And she's like, there's your gap. That's where he was doing X, Y, or Z. That's what was going on. So, but
I only saw a few episodes of that show, but I liked your character. Yeah.
Yeah. So
let's take a look at the at leverage then. So for Skye, it says you don't easily let people in, but sometimes the inner tempest spills out. Give leverage to one fellow PC. Who do you think has leverage on you from some time your inner tempest spilled out?
Wow, that sounds like Ashleigh and me when I left.
Yeah. So you feel you owe her for having kind of rejected her that way.
Yeah, and again, I'm not staying away from them. Like I'm wanting them to continue doing the thing on a particular level, but I just want them to do it with a little more grace and subtlety.
Makes sense. So Ashleigh, make sure to note that down. You have leverage on Skye. And Skye, I think you did a good job tracking what other leverage you should end up with, because Ashleigh gives leverage to all fellow PCs, so you should definitely have one on her. Jack gives leverage to 3 other PCs. Oh, we had you give. Did you end up giving 2 leverage to?
I don't remember if it was Emily or Ashleigh, but that should be adjusted. But yeah, we did 2 for one of the. We did 2 for either. It was either Ashleigh or Emily, and I don't remember which.
I'm thinking Emily. I don't remember.
Yeah, I just opened up. I just unhid Emily here, and she just lists 1 on Jack. So is it all right if we say that that Skye ends up with that 3rd leverage?
That's what I was figuring was going to happen. So
yeah, makes sense. And then and Emily gives leverage to all but 1 of the other PCs, and she chose to not give leverage to Jack. So I think it makes sense that you would have leverage on Emily as well, Skye. So this Dodger, this favored, this woman who tries to know all the angles, since she actually does care a lot about what people thinks despite her facade, you get a leverage on her as well. So cool. All right. So we've got a sense of the relationships, a sense of the leverage. Anything else we want to know about Skye before we move on to defining something else about our setting here? Cool. Well, she seems like a cool character. Excited to bring her into the mix. Let's next turn to building our Checkpoint Midnight. So probably we'll build Checkpoint Midnight, then we'll take a break, and then we'll drop into play and get to see the checkpoint, I bet. So Checkpoint Midnight, it's the neutral grounds for the supernatural factions and operatives of Vienna. It's on the surface a cafe, like many other cafes, but it has some other aspects. So let's make some choices here. We can choose one of these resources for Checkpoint Midnight to boast. I've shared my screen, but you can all find this on the Checkpoint Moves tab of the Character Keeper. You'll see there's always this meet a contact option for Checkpoint Midnight, but there's other resources you can choose where we'll pick one of these, either the library or the training grounds or the emergency room, and each of them has a particular move associated with it that your characters are able to use when you go to the checkpoint. Do any of these resources jump out? Skye, we'll let you answer first, as coming in and helping us to define our checkpoint as we do the second session. So anything jump out at you as a resource you'd like to pick for the checkpoint?
So in the section resources, those 3 there, the library, the training grounds, and the emergency room?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm a former doctor, so the ER makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely. How does that sound to other folks? We want to just to define. Yes, there's a kind of sort of secret emergency room in the checkpoint that operatives like you can make use of when the need arises.
That sounds great.
Nice. Ashleigh, let's choose some of the checkpoint's rules. So the idea is that there's kind of a list here of some ideas for rules that hold sway in the checkpoint. These are rules that they'll have a mechanical effect because your rolls are better. Your rolls for these checkpoint specific moves are better if you are following the checkpoint rules. Though of course you might decide on some occasion it's worth it to break the rules. So that remains an option, right? You have that freedom. It's just there will be consequences for it. So what do we think are the rules in this checkpoint? Can you pick one of these that jumps out at you as something that would make sense to be part of the kind of social contract of folks like you that mix and mingle at this cafe?
I think what is most, I was going to say leave all weapons chipped at the door, but I think that the sort of more pertinent one is no using supernatural powers on another person.
So there's an understanding that's going too far. You're not supposed to be kind of using your special abilities on the fellow patrons here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally.
That's the rule anyway.
That's the rule. That's the rule anyway, and there are consequences for breaking it, but doesn't make it impossible to make a different choice. Okay, Jack, what do you think? Well, let's pick. We have to pick two of these rules. Is there another one of these rules that you want us to have as part of the set of expectations for folks in Checkpoint Midnight?
Well, they really don't want to be dealing with a weapons check room since everybody who comes in here is armed. It'd basically just be like handing people boxes and saying, give us all the weapons, yes, including the one in the holdout holster at your ankle. It's easier to simply say no violence on the premises, because then it doesn't matter if you're armed or not.
Yeah, as long as there's no violence.
John Wick.
It's basically the Continental.
Yeah. It does take some inspiration from that, absolutely.
So, and I think that it fits neatly in with no supernatural powers, because this place needs to remain relatively anonymous. It needs to look like a cafe, and if there's weird supernatural stuff going on, that's going to draw some attention.
So it's a sanctum, but a sanctum where everyone is, there's still a cover, right, that people are all holding to.
And speaking of, another option that you might want to put on there at some point, wouldn't it be interesting if they had like an armory there or a weaponsmith of some sort?
Ooh, as one of the resources, you mean?
Yeah,
that's a smart idea. Let me jot that down. Cool. All right, but for our version for this series of Checkpoint Midnight, we've got a checkpoint that has an emergency room in the back. It's got the rules of no violence or plotting thereof on the premises, and no using supernatural powers on another person in the checkpoint. Let's define a little bit about our checkpoint proprietor, the individual that manages to kind of keep a handle on the fairly diverse and strange clientele for this establishment. Skye, what gender are we picturing for our Checkpoint Midnight proprietor?
And I did want to point out that for Skye, she doesn't really have any concepts of gender anymore, but she doesn't really, like, she, her was who she was before, so she lets people use those pronouns. But I would see her as being a very non-binary individual.
Makes sense.
I'm seeing a Sam Elliott kind of guy here.
Ooh. Oh, absolutely. Nice. So with like some fairly impressive facial hair as part of the look. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Oh, fantastic. Ashleigh, what's like one rumor or story that circulates about this proprietor?
He's so sweet and nice. he seems like the kind of guy who wants to give all his patrons a big hug. So I think that the rumor is that he was a commando in the war, a ruthless killing machine, and that he's put it all behind him, but that you never want to test it.
Oh man, what army was he fighting for in the war? At least according to the rumor.
I think so if it's Sam Elliott, then he'd have to be the Americans. I can't imagine Sam Elliott with an unplaceable mid-Atlantic accent. So I think it was the Americans, but he has no country anymore.
Got it. So someone seems likely to hail from America, but after the war has come to this city, made this place his own. Sure. We've got some different Sam Elliott images being shared in the chat here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. With the really
that's
venerable look. Absolutely.
And looks very like late 40s, post World War II. That haircut.
We got to give this character a name that's not just Sam Elliott, though. Jack, what's the name or pseudonym that the proprietor is addressed by?
I think folks just call him Herr Franz.
And everyone understands that's like definitely just a pseudonym.
Yeah, I like that.
If anyone knows his real name, I suspect that they would be loath to speak it. And even under pain of death, would probably choose death because whatever he would do to them would be worse.
This is great. I love it. So I guess just to complete our picture here, for each operative, I want to know a little bit about what their favorite place in the checkpoint is. So Jack, what's the feature that Jack particularly appreciates about this cafe, with its secrets and its sanctuary status?
Regulars and honored guests know that if you just walk into the cafe, down the service hall, past the kitchen, and out the back door, there's a garden patio there. Tables, but it is the best place in Vienna to take your tea at any time of the day.
Nice, I love it. So hidden garden patio in back. Ashleigh, what's your favorite kind of place or prop in this checkpoint?
You're muted.
Thank you. You said place or prop?
Yeah, whatever strikes your fancy here.
I think Ashleigh, this is the one place where she can be seen, right? Because it's a cafe full of supernaturals.
Absolutely.
Am I right? Yeah. So I think she really likes a seat at the bar where she's high up and she can see the whole cafe.
Right, absolutely.
The one main room anyway.
Yeah, and people aren't using supernatural powers because that's against the rules, but you like catch the little hints that there's other folks who are not not quite human amongst the clientele here. Totally.
Yeah.
And Skye, what's a favorite place within this within Checkpoint Midnight?
A place? Okay.
Yeah, place or just item, right? Like anything we can kind of picture here as like what what's appealing about the cafe for Skye.
Well, I have two, but
Please, let's hear them.
okay. Well, so one is he has a rack on one of the walls with some cowboy hats, and ostensibly he's a haberdasher. Like, you can try them on and you can buy them if you want, but they're so ostentatious and like you would never be discreet with it because everybody would just recognize you by your hat, right?
Amazing.
But the place that I like is an old something that you, I don't know if they existed back then, but a panic room. But the door doesn't lock anymore, or anything like that. So there's a place where you can go and get absolute quiet if you need it. But I think it was part of the roof was bond, and so like it's never been really repaired. So like what rain will come in and stuff like that. But
and for Skye, it's actually better if it's if it's a little bit rainy, huh?
yeah, but yeah, exactly, Jack. Like a sensory deprivation kind of place. It just seems to absorb sound and light.
Nice.
That's wonderful. Makes sense to me. All right, we've got some lovely details of our Checkpoint Midnight. We've got a new operative in the mix. Let's take a 10-minute or 12-minute break here and be back at 20 of, and we will pick up with our characters and get to see them and probably see this checkpoint and get into some good trouble. See you guys soon.
Okay.
By the way, I'm back, Alexi.
Marvelous. Very good. All right, looks like we're back. I'm ready to drop into things. Skye, I want to start with you. So, this dead drop you have, you kind of spot something from the window of your apartment. It sounds like that lets you know when your handler has left something for you.
Yes. What you want me to describe it, or I'm sorry, you go and ask your question. I'm sorry.
What's the tone of the messages you get? Like what kind of approach does the handler seem to take? Are they very short and to the point, or do you tend to get a whole dossier on the person you're supposed to be tailing?
So there will be a newspaper, and they will use the crossword to fill out the characters of their name, and then once I've once I've found them and I'm starting to watch them, then orders come in with another drop. So I think that's a little less subtle. I think this person's trying to be, fancy or whatever, but they're just playing at it. They don't quite have it all down just yet.
Right, right. It sounds a little more. It sounds like someone who kind of has a sense of spycraft from reading novels or whatnot. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll say you got at a previous drop. You got this name Val Atkinson, as and it's like, all right, that's the person of interest, right? And you've been you've ascertained a little bit. This is a fellow British person. He a woman who seems to have kind of a scholarly demeanor and connections, who's been here in Vienna for a little while, and at kind of the next time there's a drop, you pick up the newspaper, right, and kind of fit in among the crosswords in a way like totally not corresponding to the clues on the page, right?
Right.
Just says acquire her sewer map.
Okay.
And that's clearly what your handler has in store for you.
Okay.
Skye, what does it look like as you're receiving this? Let's just get kind of our audience's first shots of Skye herself here.
So as the sun rises and light starts to stream in through a large window in Skye's apartment, you realize that she's been up for at least a day, maybe a few days, just like painting. like there's a drop cloth and she has an easel, but she's just working on things. There's signs of wine and coffee, but not much else. And she
no food around here, for example.
Right, exactly. And that's when she realizes that she hasn't eaten in a while. And so she puts the paintbrush down and she stretches and walks over to the window. At the last minute, closing a robe around her. Not that she cares, but everyone else seems to care, so whatever. And she sees the drop, and she's of the opinion that she needs to go out and get something to eat anyway, so she might as well. And so she goes and takes a look at it. Does she recognize the name? Has she met Val before? Has she followed Val before? Or is this a completely new person?
Yeah, we'll say, since it sounds like you often get kind of a name first and then a task. We'll say you've been able to get a sense of Val's movements. She's someone who occasionally drops by Checkpoint Midnight, but doesn't seem, it hasn't, like, you haven't noticed anything supernatural about her, right? So you don't know, is she somewhat in the know? Like, why is that part of her routine? But that's part of what you've gathered. Does that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Skye at this point has left her apartment. She's wearing men's clothes. Like she has a blazer and a button up and trousers. She's not wearing a jacket. And her hair is kind of done in a way that always just looks wet. Always just looks wet.
Yeah, no matter whether it's rained recently or if she's been out and about all day.
Right.
That makes sense.
And she thinks, the cafe. I'm hungry, so I will head on out there, and maybe Val will be there.
Absolutely. Let's go to Checkpoint Midnight, because Jack, Ashleigh, you two successfully ran a mission recently. Your ally Emily Landau snatched this golden apple from this radio array and tossed it to you, Ashleigh. So you're the one holding on to the prize. Emily had to take care of something. She left a strange little note for you guys at your rendezvous point. But shall we just say that the person who hired you for this task said to meet at Checkpoint Midnight for the handoff?
Sure, that makes sense.
Cool. Jack, you had wanted to kind of go to ground just a little bit, see if a bit of the heat from your brawl in the street with the police would die down.
They were communists. Does anyone really care?
Some people do. Some people do. This is a complicated city. We'll say for our convenience sake that it's like a day or two later when this handoff has been arranged, right? Where the two of you are back at Checkpoint Midnight. Does that work for you?
Of course. I'm sure that I'm in my favorite spot in the cafe, which is that lovely little garden patio. I can't really taste the tea anymore, but it's a habit. It connects me to my old life.
Absolutely. Actually, have you brought the apple then to the checkpoint?
Yes. How will we know the person we're supposed to give it to?
Ooh. Yeah. Let's say there's a. Let's go with the classic. They're going to have a bright yellow pocket square to signal them out.
But it's a black and white movie. How are we going to tell?
We've established that there are like tiny splashes of color. Yes.
Ooh, oh, nice.
Yeah. Sort of like the Saboteur as you begin ridding Paris from Nazi control. If you ever played that video game.
No.
What's this video game?
The Saboteur. It's
right.
It was on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, I believe. Fantastic. The entire game starts in black and white like a noir film, but as you gradually start, liberating areas of the city from Nazi control, it starts turning into color, like full
Nice.
color.
That is a fantastic aesthetic. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yes.
think just because it's the patio and I thought Ashleigh might like it, I spoke with Herr Franz and asked him to send someone matching that description back to us on the patio so that we could have a quiet place and some discretion.
Oh, perfect. So the proprietor, gave you a nod and like a tap to the nose and a warm smile and he will
nudge.
Say again.
Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge.
Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge. So he'll send back this this individual with the yellow pocket square to the two of you in the garden patio.
Okay.
When you have a moment, Ashleigh, I want to know what's been like keeping you really fixated on this apple you ended up acquiring at the end of that mission.
Well, it's made of gold, right? It's made of metal.
Yep, certainly.
Or seems it's not a real apple, but it smells like a real apple.
In like a really intense way.
It seems real, so it's like me, and so I'm studying it closely, getting lost in the reflections that come off of it, trying to try to understand who made it and understand how they folded these two things together, the organic world and the world of artifice.
Absolutely. We might have you make a roll in just a moment, but I want to check, Jack. What are you doing? How do we see Jack in the garden patio here?
I have a few newspapers in front of me. I have a cup of steaming hot tea in front of me. There is a silver tea pitcher on the table. There's a cup for Ashleigh if Ashleigh wants any. I'm not sure if Ashleigh enjoys the taste of tea, but this is
something anything. It's rough.
It's there. I mean, should you want any? There's a little silver pot for cream, a little bit of some sugar cubes in a bowl. And I'm reading, oh goodness gracious. It's probably one of the papers from London. I mean, this is Checkpoint Midnight. They get newspapers from all over the world.
Oh, I'm certain they do.
So I'm just catching up on the news, perhaps reading a local paper from Vienna, seeing if there's any discussion of the altercation the other night, or if it was just omitted, if it ever actually made the news. So far, I haven't seen anything. So that means somebody wants it quiet, and that's good for us.
You haven't seen anything about the altercation. You do see a notice about electrical disturbances in the area where that mission occurred, and the complaints from residents about shattered windows.
Well, shattered windows are indeed something to complain about, aren't they?
See, the quickest flashbacks of Jack just flinging Soviet policemen through the windows, and then we see the radio,
and yet nothing about the Soviets who went through them.
And we see the radio array collapsing and more windows shattering from that that feedback that Emily caused at the end there. Great, but for the moment, Jack and Ashleigh fairly relaxed in this garden cafe, not a care in the world, unusually relaxed for Jack, it sounds like.
This is one of the very few places where I feel safe, and much of that has to do with Herr Franz and how he diligently applies the consequences to those who actually allow violence to break out in the checkpoint. He is very serious about ensuring that no one uses powers and no one commits violence here. He wants this place to remain off the radar.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Ashleigh, it sounds like you are taking a close look at this apple. Is it possible you're trying to decipher a situation?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's make a roll. So we can
Is that with let me find my character again.
Let me tell you, when you take the time to decipher a person or situation, say if you're using natural or supernatural sense. If natural, roll plus operator. If supernatural, roll plus fable.
Well, I'm +0 on both of those. But I'm thinking supernaturally.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're kind of seeing, if like whatever is more than natural about this apple is something like what you have going on. It sounds like.
Yeah. Oh, that's a 6.
Ooh. Well, that's not great because it's a miss here. I guess my only question is, Jack, do you have some way to help, or are we going to just see what Ashleigh has to deal with here?
Does taking the apple away from Ashleigh and looking at it myself count as helping?
And I was thinking I would order some normal apples in a basket, so that would be the way that our contact could carry the stuff out. Is hide the apple in a basket of apples. So maybe I'm comparing one apple to another.
Oh, nice! You're comparing the gold apple to just just a red apple that you've.
And I'm putting my face in my hand at this point. Ashleigh,
oh, really?
You are a delight in this city. I treasure your innocence. Here. May I?
Please.
All right, and then Alexei, is there an assist move?
There is. When you provide aid or run interference, mark a stress to give a PC advantage or disadvantage on a roll.
Okay.
Can that be done after I roll?
Yeah, that can be done after the fact. So if we're so basically what you do, what's the oof there?
We don't reset our stress tracks at the end of the session, do we?
No, you have to take action to reset your stress track.
All right.
Sorry.
So what I would like to do as I look at this apple is, before offering aid, I want to try to offer comfort if Ashleigh's willing to listen.
I see. Let's try that. And if this blows up in your faces, then there might be multiple hard moves going on. But go ahead and
I'm +2 on Dreamer, so
go ahead and try to offer comfort. Tell me what that sounds like.
Well, Ashleigh really actually is a delight to me, because Ashleigh hasn't been where I've been and has not seen what I've seen.
And I'm just sitting here sighing over this apple, like
it's a work of beauty.
Consulate. No, but I'm unable to decipher how it was made or how I was made. I'm adrift. I'm sort of feeling lost.
And yet,
yeah,
you ground me, because your innocence reminds me why I do the sort of things that I do. I take that weight on so that others can preserve their innocence.
Okay.
That's why I live in the shadows. That's why I live in the darkness, so that other people don't know this and won't have to know this.
Okay, so you're offering comfort.
Yeah.
All right, so Jack, we'll go ahead and roll plus Dreamer.
That's 11 on the dice, +2 is 13.
Okay, so on a hit, you are both steadied and can clear a condition or a stress. Ashleigh, did you have any conditions or stress mark?
I had stress, but no conditions.
All right, you can clear a stress, and Jack, you may as well. On a 10+, take leverage over the person you comfort. So does that make sense, Ashleigh? Do you think Jack's words of comfort here are kind of sort of sufficiently impactful that Jack leverage on you by offering them?
I'm feeling a little bit like a puppy dog, and I already had that. That I looked up to Jack for his wisdom and teaching me about humanity.
Well, we've both been made.
Mm-hmm.
We were both crafted and put together by people. And I'm one of the only humans who can understand anything like what your experience has been.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
actually, you're several of those humans.
That is, we make a good point there. I am indeed. And plus this robotic leg of mine.
Oh, yes. I forgot about the robot leg.
I mean, robot is generous. It's just a metal leg, with maybe a gear or two on it.
Yeah, some lead pipes with something that sort of approximates a knee and an ankle. I can put a shoe on it. That's about all it's good for. But I really meant every word that I said about I want to allow you to remain as pure and as untouched by the violence and the viciousness that we experience as I can. So, and with that, I can now mark a stress to give you advantage.
Uh-huh.
And is part of the visual here that you are like plucking the apple away as Ashleigh was getting like drawn in deeper and deeper. You're kind of like giving her that space too.
Yeah, and it's like kind of turning it around in my hand and looking at it, and maybe I see a seam or something like that on it that Ashleigh missed because Ashleigh was too busy looking at organic apples instead of looking at this constructed apple and thinking about how it might have been put together, like perhaps it's a puzzle almost.
Ooh. You spot a seam on the apple.
Well, I rolled a 3, which means my total is a 7. So a mixed success.
Yeah. You get to ask one question from the decipher list.
Let's see here. I'm looking at the basic moves. Oh, decipher. Here we go. What's going on under the surface?
A good question. Absolutely. Yeah. Does like Jack like hold the apple back out to you? Pointing to that seam there.
Yeah. Maybe drawing a thumbnail across that seam.
That's certainly the question I would have asked.
Just so, because the morning sunlight hitting the patio will illuminate the seam, and I think you'll see light refracting off of it in all sorts of different directions and kind of sparkling across the patio. Almost like what we would know 20 years in the future from this time as a disco ball.
So the sunlight hits the apple and kind of there's absolutely the sparkling effect, and it's also actually like sunlight is almost pooling in that tiny crack that Jack had found, and you're staring at this, and you have a sense that this apple is drinking in all of the light, right? Some of it's being reflected, but a lot is being kept inside of this apple, and a word comes into your mind that perhaps Ashleigh doesn't remember learning, but suddenly she thinks of this Hesperides, and you can picture like a grove of apples, almost like, where the sun rises, and this this apple has like something of that kind of inside, right? That's part of what's going on under the surface. Does that work for you as an answer there, as far as getting some starting points here.
Yeah, that's a lot to work with. That's great.
Cool. Someone approaches your table back here in the garden patio. She clears her throat. She says, "Pardon me, may I sit here?"
Please. There's a cup if you'd like some tea. There's milk and sugar as well. Paper.
She passes on the paper, but she does take the tea, and takes a seat across from you. It's a woman with glasses and kind of a tweed coat, and she says, "I don't think we've had the pleasure. Val Atkinson." She places a business card on the table in between you. The card just has like a embossed BC on it and no other information. She says, "I represent the Birkenfeld Consortium. I don't suppose you've heard of us."
Can't say that I have.
If we had, you wouldn't be very good as a secret organization, would you?
She laughs. Not secret so much as private.
Tell me, Val, do you smoke?
Well, I'm trying to quit, to be honest.
I reach in my coat, grab a cigarette case, pop it open, and offer one.
Says, "Well, just this once, I suppose."
They go so good with Earl Grey, don't you agree?
She nods thoughtfully. Ashleigh, what are you? New person in the scene, just like she's not like reacting in any visible way to you being not quite human. But I'm interested in what you're doing.
I'm nervously pretending to drink my tea, just bringing it up to my lips and back down again. I'm also watching her cigarette with avid interest, like
right.
how she lights it, how she breathes it in. Well, I imagine Jack lights it for her, but how she breathes it in and the ember at the tip. And I'm hoping I can get that cigarette when she's done with it and add it to my collection.
Do I know about your
absolutely
about your hobby of collecting cigarette butts?
I don't know. I think it's actually something I'm a little private about.
Okay.
But
do you have any of my cigarette butts?
Sorry?
Do you have any of my cigarette butts?
Oh, yeah, I probably have at least one.
I was going to say, it's like you've probably had to have been able to pick up at least one. So
yeah.
Hey, you were saying?
Oh, yeah, just that I'm a little nervous in front of this person, and the bag of apples is on the table with the golden one sitting on top of it, and sort of feeling like it's Val's show and waiting to see what she says.
I'd like to decipher a person.
That's an interesting move. Absolutely. So, but it sounds like actually the golden apple is like visible among the apples at this moment.
I think so. Jack, you all right with that?
We had just been looking at it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm gonna roll with operator because we know that supernatural abilities are forbidden here.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. So, no, can't go around visibly using supernatural abilities.
I know it doesn't make any difference one way or another, but
so you're just sizing her up with your yeah, absolutely.
That's a 7.
You get to ask one question from the decipher list.
What danger am I overlooking?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the answer is Skye. To be quite honest, so Skye, are you when you arrive at checkpoint midnight? Do you ask for Val, or are you just keeping an eye out, seeing if you can spot her?
I nod pleasantries at Herr Franz,
Mm-hmm.
whom I call Doc. I grab one of the hats on the wall, and I head out towards the patio. No, I'm not looking for her, but that sounds like a great place to be right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So kind of so I think like Skye, you spot Val as Jack spots you, and there's like a triangulation of like the looks back and forth. What do you do, Skye, first? Because you see that this person is talking to some folks some folks you've worked with, and Jack has definitely noticed your approach.
Well, it seems like on the surface that everything's friendly. So if there's a fourth seat, I won't ask permission, but I will. Is it too crowded for a fourth?
Not at all. Or
That's
what I start to say.
Okay, so Ashleigh immediately waves Skye over to take the fourth seat. Sounds like.
I'm a little unsuspecting sometimes. Jack, what were you thinking?
I was going to say, I'm terribly sorry. We're in the middle of a discussion at the moment. Perhaps we can meet up with you later, or we can join you at the bar for a cup of coffee.
Jackie boy, you wound me. Well, I'll leave you three to whatever it is going on. Nice apple. But I grab one of the other regular apples, and I head back to a table in the green area, but far enough away that it's polite, spy wise, that I'm not going to be listening in. So
Nice.
Far enough away that you actually can't be listening in, or it looks like you're not listening in.
It would be I'd have to be supernatural to listen in. So.
And of course, we know using supernatural abilities is not allowed.
Right. My plan for this character is to get into a lot of trouble. So.
Okay, so Jack, I feel like I'm totally valid. I think it's totally valid to say, the initially overlooked danger is Skye, who clearly had something besides just a regular apple in mind when she swung by your table here. Does that work for you?
I suppose.
Val leans forward and says, "Yes. Speaking of this apple, the higher ups of the consortium are very interested in what we could offer you in exchange for this artifact you've acquired."
And what did you have in mind?
Well, I think it goes without saying we could beat the price of your, and she does air quotes with her fingers, anonymous contact in the Western intelligence community. But for knowing the two of you, money itself is surely far too pedestrian of an offer. So we're prepared to assist you in, she chuckles a little, meeting your makers, as I understand that's a goal for each of you.
I think it's very hard for me to mask my expression, despite that I'm made of wood.
Do you want to mask your expression?
Well, as a spy, always.
Nice. I think you have to act under scrutiny if you don't want to, give yourself away in some major way at this moment.
Right. And that is, just roll straight.
Yeah, that's a flat roll, no label.
7.
Cool. Okay. On a 7 through 9, the MC will tell what compromise or hard choice you must make to do it. Okay. So yes, you're trying to accomplish, kind of keeping keeping your cool, not you know, playing your hand here. It sounds like.
Right.
I think you're going to have to like try drinking some of the tea just to like not have your expression be like immediately readable.
Nice. Okay, it's gonna do something to my innards. I'm not really sure what.
Good news, it's hot tea. You could just like say "ow" and spill some, and nobody'd even blink.
No. I'm gonna drink it. I might slurp a little too loudly. But,
right. So this wooden mannequin is slurping this hot tea, and I think there is this weird like sense of like waterlogging, right? That you get as you do this. Mark a stress from that.
Makes sense.
But she like Val like casts like a glance in your direction and like doesn't stare much as you do the tea drink, and then she looks back at you, Jack, kind of like looking over her glasses a tiny bit. What do you do? What are we like? Do we see anything on your face?
I've heard that offer many times, and as yet, not one of those offers has panned out. I'm afraid I would need a bit more than a vague offer across a table in a cafe.
Driving a harder bargain. What sort of assurance would assure you, Mr. Hardesty?
Well, it appears you know that I look for members of a group of scientists. Providing a name and location would go a great deal of a way to proving that paying attention to your offer is worth our time. Otherwise, I can simply ensure that our original buyer receives the object that they have indicated that they will be paying for, and we can go on about our business. But if you're unable to provide that sort of information, please do. I am by no means rude. Please stay, enjoy your tea, finish your cigarette. But if that's not an offer that you can meet, then I'm afraid we have nothing to discuss.
I think it's possible you're trying to exert leverage here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say, you have a thing that Val has admitted she wants. So you can take one leverage on her. So if you take a look at the exert leverage move, you can remove an option, right, as you exert the leverage, and you can spend leverage to remove additional options. I can talk you through it. It's a bit of a strange move, but I can I feel like this sort of negotiation scene is kind of the case in point for this move. So let's make it happen. When you exert your leverage over someone, say what you want from them, then remove an option below. They choose from this list. Spend a leverage up to 2 to remove additional options. So these are the options, and you can kind of take items off of this list. So there's comply with what you want. Player character marks XP, not relevant on an NPC. Promise you something else they think you want. Weasel out by giving you leverage they hold on someone else. Brazen it out by marking a condition. Cut a deal by giving up leverage over you or giving you additional leverage over them.
Well, I think I've been pretty clear about what I want.
name and a location related to your
one of those scientists.
so your scientist, nemesis.
Yeah, and I have no idea how many there are. I mean, there could be 2 or 3 dozen. So, one. Well, to me, that's a good faith gesture. Yeah, I'm going to remove brazen it out by marking a condition.
Yeah.
Can NPCs even mark conditions?
Yeah, that's kind of how they take damage.
Ooh, well, so in this case, would taking damage trigger the no violence in the checkpoint?
Oh, no, because conditions can represent emotional stuff as well, right? Like just like your conditions have sort of multiple valences. Taking a condition doesn't necessarily mean wounded, but it does mean off your game, right?
Yeah, I want to remove brazen it out by marking a condition.
Cool. Okay.
And so I would like to do one other thing at this point. So, can I also make a stand?
I think probably you have to choose either to exert your leverage or to make a stand. Though I'm happy to have you make a stand instead, because making a stand is when you make a stand to sway someone for your cause. Roll plus Dreamer. It's got a slightly different tone to it, right? Because like you're swaying someone to your cause. You're not just exerting leverage on them. You're actually trying to reach them on some. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I'm happy for you to do that move if that's what you want. If that's what you want Jack to do.
The other question. So that was a question I had. The other question I have is, how can I cut off escape routes from this terrace, from this patio? I want to make sure that Val's not going to snatch and grab.
So you're watching all the angles here.
Oh, I was also looking at establish your bona fides.
Yeah, so establish your bona fides works because that's something you can trigger when you meet an important NPC for the first time. Is there an option there you want to you want to designate?
Well, let's be blunt. You've already taken one, which is that they've heard unsettling rumors about me.
I mean, true rumors at this point, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I think I know the type well, and I'll take advantage on my first move targeting them.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, you feel like you've gotten this offer from lots of people before. You know the type of person who thinks they can manipulate you this way
and show up, flash a nice business card. They represent rich people.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That totally makes sense to me. Yeah, you know this type well. Take advantage of your first move targeting them. And what's the move here? How are you going to play this?
I think I just want to make sure that there's no option. There's no clear option out for Val. Like, she's here and if she wants to do anything, she knows she's trapped and that she's going to violate the cafe's rules. Does that make sense? Is there a move for that?
Yeah. Maybe that's make a stand, right? Maybe you're making a stand to say, look, we're going to play by the rules here, so no funny business. And does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
So roll with advantage, and that's what, 3d6?
3d6, and it's a plus Dreamer roll. So this could be a big hit.
As Lowell often says, there's almost no way you can fail.
Yeah, there's almost no way you can fail this one.
That is 8 plus 2 is a 10.
A 10 will do it. Yeah. Make a stand. On a hit, you command their attention. And a 10 plus, if they don't follow your lead, they have to show more of themselves than they meant and lower their guard. So give me just a sense of what's the give me more of a sense of what's the stand you're making. It sounded like it was to do with playing by the rules of the cafe. No, like just like
You're coming in,
things.
you're making an offer. We've heard this offer before. I have heard this offer from people many times, none of which panned out. You will either give us what we want, or you will politely finish your tea and depart from the table and abide by the rules of the cafe. Herr Franz you managed to get back here, so that says something about you. Herr Franz pays attention to who comes back here and who leaves. And do you really want Herr Franz and the staffers of the cafe denying you service and hunting you down for violating the rules of the cafe? That basically means basically there is a target on your back. And every supernatural operative in this city will be paying attention and looking for you. You might last 6 hours.
She kind of stubs out the cigarette in the ashtray on the table, and like just like almost imperceptibly gulps, right, and and sits up straighter. Believe you me, I know how things work around here. No, I can back this offer up. The consortium is good for it. The name you want, Jack, is Dr. Thorne in Paris. And you, and she says, like almost as an afterthought to you, Ashleigh, are looking for the maestro, now in Berlin.
Berlin. I'm so overcome. I have to snatch her cigarette in full plain view. Thanks.
You just grabbing.
I just grab it and I pop out my cigarette case and open it up, pop that thing in, close it, put it back. Just hoping that by going fast, no one will see me. And I'm overcome. I don't shake, but I'm rattled.
I look at Ashleigh. Is that enough information for you, Ashleigh?
Well, I would have to verify it. Trying to show a calm demeanor, again. It depends if it checks out or not.
Well, we can't exactly retrieve the apple if it doesn't. The clock is ticking.
We could meet back here in a day.
Val says, take the time you need. I'm sure you can offer an excuse to your other buyers, and I'm happy to meet again when you've had the chance to confirm that we know what you need to know. And now she smiles a little because she feels she's made inroads here.
I smile. Toss the apple to Ashleigh.
I stick it in my pocket. All right, we'll have to meet you again. Yeah.
To let them know that we'll say that Emily is still in possession of the apple, and we have to retrieve it from her. But you go ahead.
I don't know. We've had a lot of looking at it and staring at the apple.
Well, yes, but
it sounds like, Jack, this is your plan for a cover story to tell the other buyer.
Ashleigh, allow me to handle this. Go enjoy the rest of your day. but keep that close and safe.
Ashleigh, what do you do?
I don't understand. I've been given the apple.
Basically, I'll sit here and wait for the buyer while you get the apple out of sight and out of the cafe in some place.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. No, then I stand up and I skedaddle. Is there only one way out of this patio?
That you know of.
One way in, one way out. It's one of the reasons why we like it.
Okay. Then I'm gonna get up and leave, and maybe pass by Skye's table and just tap it twice.
What does that mean?
Just means keep your eyes open. And it's funny, I could sit with Skye, but that seems dangerous to
So
be
as
in close proximity.
As you walk by,
Yeah.
My hand like quickly reaches out, and I just let your hand like rub against it as you walk by. I don't know if it's a flirt or just being an invasion of privacy, but
I think that's, delightful. I feel every ridge of your fingerprints.
Oh, right. You're made of wood. Things are, like just different for you, and experiencing, even normal touch. Yeah, absolutely.
I have wood grain instead, but it's been highly polished, lacquered. I think I find that quite thrilling. And now I'm thinking, okay, so maybe I think I'm going to sit down with Skye. It's a little risky to still be in the scene, especially if the buyer knows what I look like, but I don't think they do. So I'm gonna pull up a chair and just pretend I've been sitting there the whole time.
Great. Great. Jack, Val offers a hand, says, all right, we'll meet back here in 2 days' time. Pleasure doing business with you.
You as well. And I look in Ash's direction and I cough, quite obviously.
Would you like to go for a walk with me, Ash?
I think that's a very good idea. And then too soon.
As a joke, Skye puts the cowboy hat on your head just to see how it looks.
Huh. I have my own hat, thanks.
You already. That's right. Yeah, you already have.
It's not on at the moment, but I think that's pretty funny. I think it kind of sits askew because I've got like this garland of roses sculpted into my hair, so it's a rough fit.
Your own hat must be kind of like fairly like felt and like stretchy to like go on over those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
It
right.
probably still sits perched on top.
It doesn't fit.
Let's go for a walk in a shaded garden, someplace where I'm not too exposed.
So Skye agrees, but what she really wants to do is to follow Val.
Oh, let's totally do that.
Yeah,
I am the best spy ever.
So it sounds like Skye's trying to tail Val. Ashleigh is along for the ride without
really being aware that that's what's going on. Right?
Yeah, like you have not said we're tailing Val. It sounds like
right. Taking in the sights.
I think eventually I'm going to figure it out, but
that's
okay.
beautiful. Yeah, so Val heads right out of the cafe. Sounds like with Skye and Ashleigh in her wake. Jack staying out in the garden. Yes.
For the moment, yes.
Yeah, you see you see a like kind of gentleman in a slick suit with a yellow pocket square, being ushered out into the patio, kind of like looks around at the garden, does like a low whistle, spots you, heads over towards your table, and we'll check back in on you in a moment. But Skye and Ashleigh, it sounds like you're trying to follow Val without yourselves being observed, or at least that's what Skye's doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think I figured it out, and that way, and then I start doing the front and follow thing. Front and follow, where you have two people. One is following the mark, the other is walking in front of the mark. As soon as the mark passes the person in front becomes the follower, and the person who was the follower goes in front. And so you sort of keep a guy, a target bounded in that way. It's also helpful to have a third person who's like across the street.
Yeah, but you're working with two here. Skye, does that sound good to you? Kind of, coordinated approach.
My only goal is to figure out where she lives, and then to go back there when she's not there. Right? I want to figure that out, and then let her go about her business, and then I can scope her place out and figure out when I want to go and break in.
Yeah, I'm going to call for a decipher roll. This sounds like totally like an operator move to scope out where she lives, because the question might even be, where's a weak point I could exploit, right? But yeah, I feel like this coordinated tailing works for a decipher. And Ashleigh, if you want to give advantage on this, I feel like we've narrated enough for you to just mark a stress from your own, like putting yourself out there on this, but you are going to be able to give advantage to Skye on this decipher roll.
All right. Done.
So I didn't know what tailing was when I made the character. So I switched around where I gave my +1 from character creation.
Sure, yeah. Adding a +1 to operator makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So I'm currently at 0.
So it's a flat roll, and you get 3 dice for it.
Okay. So this is the first time
roll. You're going to roll 3 and pick the 2 you like.
Sure. This is the first time I've actually used this website, this Roll Dice with Friends. I think I just dragged 3 dice into here.
You click on the dice and they pop into the spot.
Okay. Ooh. Wow. No bueno.
Oh dear. So even though you have an advantage on this, the best thing you've got here is a 5. That's what we're looking at, right?
In terms of competence, I would rather lose her than be exposed, but I'll leave it up to you as to how it works out. Like, I figure we're competent spies, right? So
yeah, you know what you're doing. It's just this city may have its own ideas. So
I'm sure there's bad luck or something. Yeah.
I think honestly, I think you're tailing her. You get to here's the thing, right? A miss on decipher, you can still ask a question. Yeah, on a miss, still ask 1, but you're in the MC's hands. Prepare for the worst. So ask me the question.
Oh, okay.
Do you have the decipher list? It's in the basic moves tab.
Yeah, I guess where's a weak point I could exploit is the closest I can get to. Because I think she's probably not got a heavily fortified place to live, so that would be what I'm looking for. Where's a weak point I could exploit?
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
It's like she's got a very I said academic demeanor, right? Like tweed jacket, kind of precise speaking patterns. But she's living in a pretty rundown part of Vienna. You're tailing her, and you do get a bead on her returning to this kind of boarding house at the very edge of the British sector of the city, and even a cursory scope, even a cursory stakeout reveals that there are there's a fire escape in back. There's like skylight up on the roof, right? It's there's plenty of entry points for this house. However, I think we get like a shot, right? Of like the two of you have gotten a way to see what's going on here, and then like the camera pulls back, and there's like several silhouetted figures on like a nearby rooftop who are clearly spotting the two of you, and we'll cut away and take a brief break. But when we get back, we'll learn a little more. So let's take 10 and be back at about 10 of, if that sounds all right.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm back, Alexi.
Excellent. And there's that hat you wanted to see.
That is something.
It fits better when I'm not wearing headphones, I have to say.
I bet.
It looks like Chris has had to turn in this evening, so that'll be all right. Open door policy, and we'll we'll figure out where it makes sense for Ashleigh to go. Actually, I have a thought that I can pull in once we turn back there. But for the moment, I want to turn to Jack. Jack, you are in the garden patio, and a besuited gentleman with the the signature, the telltale yellow pocket square is approaching you.
A very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Hardesty. You have the package?
I do not, but it is within the possession of one of my compatriots. There has just been a slight wrinkle. As you may have become aware, there was a little more noise around the job than we anticipated and hoped for, and our associate is, I believe you say, laying low.
Mr. Hardesty, the people I represent do not like wrinkles.
Young man, please sit down. It's a lovely morning. Have some tea. Surely we can discuss this like gentlemen.
He sits down rather grouchily, right? Looks at the tea, doesn't drink it. He says, "This is a lot for me to smooth over, you understand. There's going to be ruffled feathers, is what I'm saying."
And I just look at him steadily.
What are you doing?
I think at this point, I want to decipher the person. Again, rolling naturally with operator.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I guess at Checkpoint Midnight, people do a lot of deciphering each other. So go ahead and roll plus operator for that.
That's an 8.
You get a question from the decipher list.
What's going on under the surface here?
Yeah, tell me just a little more about kind of what you're angling for, and if you're doing anything, to try to elicit it,
Well, if there's one thing that I know, it's that people who matter don't come to meetings like this. This guy is someone's Gordon McKenzie. I may not know exactly whose, but I know who he is. So I know that his bluster is meaningless because he is toothless. He would need people to back any threats up. At Checkpoint Midnight, that would be obvious. Outside, it would be obvious. So what I'm looking for is basically what's really going on here. Because this guy may be talking about ruffled feathers and such, but this happens. I mean, you don't want to be getting a hot piece of anything when the heat is on. You want to let the heat die down, and then you can do handoffs. So this is not, it's an inconvenience, but it's not uncommon. Hence, what's really going on here?
Yeah. Here's what you get off of him, right? I think you're you're right in some ways that he may be someone's Gordon McKenzie, but he doesn't think of himself that way.
Of course not. Gordon McKenzies never think of themselves as Gordon McKenzies. They're always people on the come up, as it were.
You can smell the ambition just rolling off of him, right? Like, he's got, carefully parted blonde hair. The suit's clearly new. This guy's fresh out of Yale and just like, obviously CIA adjacent and aiming to like rise up into the big leagues. So like he thinks he can break in and make a name for himself by managing this operation, right? By quickly getting that apple to the
managing with a capital M.
Say again.
Managing with a capital M.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, he's managing it. He is in charge. And I wonder, how did I know he was from Yale?
He wants to be seen as the manager.
Let me guess. He was on crew, wasn't he?
the build. He's got the build for it.
Probably wore sweaters. I think I'll just look across the table at him and kind of tap on one of my cigarettes to pack the tobacco in a little bit, light it, take a drag, and say, "Young man, if you want to get promoted, field work is the fastest way, provided you survive."
He laughs, like, slightly nervously, but putting on a good face. Oh no, that's for folks like you, Mr. Hardesty.
I see. It's not for people with Roman numerals behind their name now, is it, Trip?
He bites his tongue. He says, I'm just saying, we stick with what we specialize in. I mean, you're
roboting, Alexei.
To be behind a desk. Can you hear me now?
Yes. I didn't like the next thing I heard that was clear was behind a desk.
Yeah. So he says, you wouldn't want to be behind a desk, even with a corner office. You want to be out in the field. Different strokes for different folks. Right?
Of course, Trip. I'm merely noting that it is easier to rise to the ranks if one has some field experience. That, my dear boy, is something that I can assist you with.
Now, hold on a moment. We were discussing your wrinkles in bringing me the package, not any other assistance, right? He's trying to regain control of this conversation.
I can tell you're a bright young man. You clearly have a very bright future in front of you at any one of the 3-letter agencies that currently exist or will exist in the future. I'm merely saying your rise to the top will be faster this way. It's much easier for operatives, whether they be free agents or one of your own, as you say, to trust someone who has actually been out in the field and has done the work, even if it's only for a mission or two. What do you say? Would you like to go on a job with me?
You're pulling my leg.
I would do no such thing. I'm sure you've seen my case file. You know that you wouldn't want to be pulling on any of my legs. They might come loose. And goodness only knows what they would do with you.
Are you making a stand here to try and sway him?
You know what? I think so. I think, although actually, I want to check on this. Can I use Die Hard at this moment?
So that is
It's one of my playbook moves. Recruit others to pursue a lost cause.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're definitely hitting that, right? You can so you can take the benefit from that release move. And again, when you activate a release move, you can clear a stress or mark an XP.
I will mark XP.
Oh, and Skye, I'm sorry. When you roll a miss, you mark XP. I forgot to tell you that earlier.
Huzzah!
So there's an advancement tab, which is one over from the PCs tab, and so you can track XP there. Yeah. So
I think this is making a stand.
All right.
Unless it's offering comfort in a weird way.
It feels more like making a stand, right? Like he came in a little confrontational. You're trying to like bring him around to this course of action.
That's an 11 on the dice.
Wow.
That's 2 for Kramer. Did I just get myself a CIA operative from Yale?
What's the so what sort of a tale do you spin here, right, to like bring him around to like thinking like, yeah, he really does need to like get field experience by tagging along with you, like doing a ride along?
Do you happen to know how many people followed you here today?
He like looks over his shoulder really obviously.
The fact that you can't answer that lets me know that you don't know how many people followed you today. You're an operative in this city. You need to know where you are and who is around you at all times. You need to know who is on your tail. And the mere fact that you cannot tell me right now how many people trailed you here means that at this point, my dear boy, you aren't of any use to the OSS or the CIA.
And
you'll be a bagman from now until the day that you retire. You may get a gold watch out of it, but you'll never be anything more than someone sitting at a desk, handing reports to someone more important. It doesn't matter who your father or your grandfather were.
And you can teach me?
There are lots of things I can teach you. Tell me, have you read my file?
He like gives you a slow nod.
And
like under his breath, he's like, there's more than one file.
Yes, I'm sure. But you know what I am.
Another nod.
I cannot teach you everything I can do for obvious reasons. But I can show you what I know that you can do. Like how to spot who's tailing you.
Jack, I think you've earned yourself a temporary sidekick here, it sounds like.
All right.
So here's my question: where, if he agrees to go along with you, right, and learn a little about like what it's like in the field, what's your plan? Where are you bringing Trip?
Road trip to Paris. Where else?
Brilliant. Okay.
He's got to have access to a car.
So this is how you want to check up on the Dr. Thorne lead.
Am I an asshole for doing it this way?
I mean, To whom? Certainly to Trip to some extent. It sounds like.
Oh, we'll find something else for Trip. Besides, who can even say if Val survives? I mean, maybe Val doesn't survive and the apple gets lost and Trip winds up with it, and who can say?
So you're willing to play all the angles here?
I mean, really, if you think about it, espionage is just what, 72nd degree or 77nd dimensional pool.
I'll tell you my instinct, Jack, then is to handle a road trip to Paris as a kind of a love letter, where like between sessions we establish a little bit about like what happens when Jack and Trip take their Paris little Paris jaunt. Does that sound good to you?
Fine by me.
All right. Well,
let's figure some stuff with Skye.
Yes. Let's cut back to Skye.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Do the rules have anything about creating or converting assets? Or like can it be an advancement where you get yourself an asset or something like that? It sounds like what Jack's doing. I struggle to find. I mean, the swaying part gets the asset to try to do something for you, but it seems like there should be something about acquiring an asset or converting someone from the other side, or
Yeah, that's I'm jotting that right down as a possibility. It's not something covered in an obvious way by the rules as written right now.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Let's jump over to Skye. You had tracked Val back to her place. A somewhat shabby looking boarding house, edge of the British sector. I think you see that your friend Ashleigh has been hailed by a lady at a fruit cart. This older Austrian woman calls over to Ashleigh, and Ashleigh gives you a little wave, like, I got to deal with this, right? Like over to talk to her friend Inga. So you feel like, all right, you're on your own for the moment, but at least you've already traced Val back. You know where she's going to be. You're feeling like you can just take your time with this one. When you hear a bunch of voices calling out, a number of different languages, but among them English, and the intonation is pretty obvious. A bunch of people are yelling fire, and you see flames starting to appear in the windows of this boarding house.
Oh shit!
What do you do?
I run in. I've got to save people. Like the doctor in me, that part of my humanity just kicks in, So as much as the fire is going to hurt in so many different ways, like that portion of my humanity just leaps back into my throat, and I run into the building.
Absolutely. Just through the front door then?
Well, so I'll quickly look at everything. If people are taking the fire escape that you mentioned earlier,
yeah,
they're obviously being taken care of. But if I can deduce, if I can hear somebody screaming for help, or
many people are screaming for help.
Yeah. Okay. I think I will go to the fire escape, pull down the ladder, and start climbing up and trying to get to people to try to get them to the fire escape.
Got it. Absolutely. Yeah. So you're kind of like as people are like coming down the escape, you're like kind of dodging around them to head into the building and try and pull others out. Yeah. as you go in, smoke starts to just fill your vision. It is heating up in there, and you hear voices from calling from rooms that are like past a fairly like blazing part of the building. What do you do?
I think I get spooky. I think I'm going to bring some water to a firefight.
Tell me what that looks like.
What does that look like?
Like, are you kind of like pulling on like water vapor in the air to try and create like create a bit enough water to try to suppress this fire, or like is it that
I start turning on faucets.
Nice.
Start turning on faucets, and the water starts following me.
Oh, cool. So it's like there's like a little trail of water following you down the hallway.
Right.
And you're going to try to like push through where things are ablaze with that.
Yeah. So
spooky. That's a roll plus fable.
Okay. 2d6 plus fable. Fable is a +1. And woohoo! Got an 11.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. When you get spooky by letting out your inhuman side to intimidate someone, reshape your environment, or overcome an obstacle, roll plus fable. On a hit, the world warps to your will. Yeah. So like there's like a rush of water and like a sudden steam and smoke goes up, but you've kind of created a safe path through this part of the building that was totally ablaze a moment ago. Anything else we see for as like how does this affect Skye herself as she's kind of wielding this kind of elemental power?
Yeah. I think, let's see. Yeah, I think she's so much in touch with the water in the pipes in this building at this point that it's become like her circulatory system. And she's not really paying attention to like the organ that is Skye. Mm-hmm. And hot smoke is being breathed in without really paying attention to it. Like it's starting to burn her. Because I'm going to choose your powers do things beyond what you meant. And I think the pipes are just going to start bursting in key areas to take care of the fire. It's either that or draw attention by something. I'd rather be a target, to be honest. So I think there's just enough water to take care of the fire, but someone knows what I've done. I think that's what I would like to have happen.
Yeah. So we see like outside of the building, we see there's like just like smoke suddenly, like a bunch of smoke comes up, and then less smoke is coming up as you've managed to like douse a lot of fire all through this building, right? Oh, here we go. Do another like shot where where the audience is seeing something. We see like on a nearby rooftop. There's a person who's like packing away what looks like a sniper rifle, who then like turns, right, seeing the building extinguished, and just like under their breath, we hear just the word Rusalka.
Right.
But Skye, yeah, you're dousing these flames, and like on the other side, kind of like coughing and like helping an older woman walk through the hallway. You spot Val, your target from before, who was in this burning building, and like she's kind of moving towards you, helping this woman along, seeming to, recognize that in some way you're here to help. What do you do?
I want to. So has she seen me already, or has she not seen me yet?
Yeah, she's so I mean, she's noticed that you're there. I don't know if she's gotten a good look at you. Yeah.
I run up to her and I'm like, the people are getting to safety, but we've got to save your materials, your books or whatever, right? Like your artifacts.
Yes, right. Here, help her out, right? And she like tries to hand you the old woman and like turns like she's gonna go like right back to her apartment.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to like not do that. I'm going to follow her, but like I need to shoot. Yeah, I'm going to follow her and hide, and the next time she runs out of her place, I'm going to run in because I need to find this map or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. So it sounds like you like help the old woman along a moment and then like you're okay, right? then you're back, like lurking as Val.
She's speaking in a language I don't understand. I'm like, okay.
Val comes like coughing out of the apartment, like a pile of like leather-bound books in her hands, and you're trying to just get in there and get what you want. I think I'm gonna have you roll get in or get out. Just okay. you want basically you want free reign at Val's place to pick up what you need. Yeah.
Yep. So breaking or sneaking?
That's the question. It's a burning building, so there's only so much damage to be done by breaking it.
Yeah, sneaking is such a bad thing for me, though. Okay, well, that's what the dice are for. So I will roll operator. And
okay, because you're focusing on sneaking here.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's what can I possibly break at this point? Just, like there's no window to go in. It's just like there's an open door. So, I mean, I want to I would love to lock it behind me, but that's sneaking, not breaking. So, all right. So my operator is 0. Okay. So straight up roll and roll. Boy. All right. I mark experience though.
Yes. You mark experience. You let Val. You watch Val run by like carrying this one stack of books, and you're hoping the one you need is not in that pile. You sneak your way into this room. Looks like it hasn't been too damaged by the fire. There, it's like totally messy, covered in text like open on every surface, right? Things being weighed down, things spread out, and like you look around, and like the impression you get is that almost all of these books are about folklore and mythical creatures, right? Like you see like a anatomy text open with what looks like a like dissected dragon on the pages there, right?
So I failed the roll. What does that mean in this situation?
I get to make a move.
Okay, all right.
So I think like as you're taking this in, trying to spot trying to spot the like map that you're interested in,
right?
There's a gunshot, and like the like window in the window of the room shatters.
Sure.
I want you to roll take serious harm, and we'll see if this is like a glancing blow or if someone is bullseyed you here.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So that's a basic move.
Yep.
Take serious harm. Roll stress.
How have you not marked any stress? That doesn't make any sense. I think you have to mark like 1 stress from this situation.
He didn't mark any stress because he wasn't in the previous session. That was when we all marked stress.
Yeah. I would even say 2, but
I'm not going to argue against you if you want to mark 2 stress before you make this roll.
yeah, I mean, so there's 1 stress for making the powers happen. And there's 1 stress from like, well, I think the powers are the stress. So okay, I'll leave it at 1.
All right.
So I need to roll 2d6 plus 1.
Yep.
And that's a 9.
Okay. So for take serious harm, so you say you on a 7 through 9, you take your licks, choose 1. So you choose 1 from this take serious harm list.
Okay. Oh, wow. I could have been killed right here. I didn't know that. Oh, man.
To be clear, MIA doesn't mean, dead necessarily. It just means you're in my hands, and where you wake up next is not up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think any condition here really applies. So I think I just need to mark stress. I think I grit my teeth and I have to push through.
Okay, yeah. So like, what is it? It's like a glancing blow. You're staggered back, but you're pulling yourself together. You're gonna grab what you need for this mission, even if you're under fire.
Well, I think it's like a through and through, like.
Oh.
Right, like I think they hit pretty good. It wasn't a kill shot. So, but blood is the same as water to me. So, that's the way I see it. So I take 2 stress, and I grit my teeth, and I curse in a language that isn't man-made.
Man, nice.
I've never done before. And I want to. Well, what happens next?
Yeah, I think you absolutely take that hit. You say that curse. We're gonna run with that as you like let out that non-natural curse. Like the pages around the room just sort of like rustle a little bit, and you spot something that looks more like a map.
No, my goodness. Wow. I want the book on the dragon, and I want the map.
Great. So it's like you grab this map. It's like, yeah, that looks like a sewer system. Slam it into the dragon book, tuck it under your arm. Does that sound good?
And then jump out the window.
Oh, nice. Roll to get out of a place.
Yeah, let's see if they get a second shot, right? All right, roll to get out is by breaking, so I'll be using weapon this time.
just like smashing through whatever's left of the window on your way out.
That's a 10. That's a 10.
Yeah, you make it out clean. Strangely enough, so what's our last shot of Skye, for this for this session?
So I imagine that Val was had a window view of just the next building over. So I'm leading into an alleyway.
Works, yeah.
And I look up to try to see who had the gun. All I see is the muzzle as it fires again.
Yeah, into the room you just left.
Yeah, like right beside me. And I look at, like, I've landed on my feet. There's glass all around me. I release the hold of the water in the building, and wow, I hope people got safely. I've got an ER to go to though.
You do. All right. That seems like a good place to do our wrap up for tonight. So let's take a look at end of session, or we just have a choice to make. So Jack, at the end of each session, you're going to choose one of these. Do you have the tab open?
One moment here.
Oh, I know what you could do. You could spend 4 leverage on someone to convert an asset, or to create an asset, or some X amount of leverage, or something like that.
Oh, right. If you rack up enough leverage, you can make it someone works for you now.
Right, like the chosen in Monster Hearts, right? Like if they get 4 strings on somebody, they can just kill them.
That's a fascinating mechanical thought. I'm jotting that down in my designer yellow pad right here. Jack, the end of session moves. You can describe how your character's ideology or loyalty has been shifted by what they've learned. Mark XP.
I'm going to pick that one just because what I've learned is that the information that I want is out there, and it's readily available enough that this secretive organization has been able to provide at least some of it. So I now know I've been getting stonewalled. And I'm not picking that just because it gives me an advancement. And that allows me to get the ghost dog at my beck and call.
Oh, Ushi the ghost dog. Wonderful. Go ahead and mark that XP, and we'll talk about your advancement and your increasing entanglement when we pick up again next week.
Yeah.
Skye, of these end of session moves, any of them jump out at you? So there's describe how your character's ideology or loyalty has been shifted by what they've learned, mark XP. There's explain how you gained advantageous insight into a character you interacted with, gain leverage over them. Or there's describe how another operative can tell you take a bullet for them, remove 1 stress from them, and mark 1 stress yourself. I think the last one's hardest to justify because we did end up getting kind of split apart by the end of this session.
Yeah, that's no problem. I think I gained leverage over Val. Like I've seen her inner workings at this point.
Yeah, you've seen that room. You've stolen that dragon book.
Would you say that she's important in Vienna?
Sure. She's certainly trying to kind of move and shake things, right? Like turning up to acquire that apple.
Sure. So I think that she's the one I spared.
Oh, you previously spared her, and now your handler's pointing you at her again.
And I mean, we never did the bona fides, but I was thinking that she has a secret holding over me. So.
So you guys have leverage on each other.
Leverage on each other, and then I take an additional leverage from the move.
All right, that works. I'll jot that down. Given her areas of research, there's certainly some ways she could have leverage over you. All right, excited to see where this all goes. So for now, we'll wrap things up. Anyone who's been watching along, thanks so much for checking out Checkpoint Midnight. See ya next week, same time, same station.